Anyway, so I once heard that you can sum up every Jewish holiday with the following 8 words. They tried to kill us, we won, let's eat. 9 words, whatever. Anyway, Chanukah, right? So although they tried to kill us, what I think is fundamental about this whole ordeal was it was actually a spiritual war. A holy war, if you will. More than anything. In fact, the Greeks appreciated Judaism very much. They were quite fascinated by it. But let's just recap the story of Chanukah and then peel away some of the layers so we could see what was actually going on. It was during the Seleucid Empire, during the second Jewish temple in Jerusalem, in the 2nd century BCE. So it was after Alexander the Great had conquered most of the ancient world and the Greeks were ruling. The Greek king, Antiochus Epiphanes, decreed against Jewish practices and defiled the Jewish temple of Jerusalem by installing an altar to Zeus Olympius and sacrificing pigs on it. And if the Greeks did not listen to the Jews, they were punishable by death. Obviously. So anyway, a small army of Jews, known as the Maccabees, rebelled against this religious oppression. It was the weak against the strong, the few against the many. And one commentary actually says that the Jews actually fought with actual sticks and stones, literally. They victoriously regained control over the Jewish temple of Jerusalem, removed the symbols of Zeus so they could offer sacrifices once again in keeping of Jewish law. Now the highlight of the story was this jug of oil. When the Greeks defiled the temple, they ruined all the oil used for lighting the menorah by breaking the seal of the high priest, thus rendering it impure and unfit to be used for lighting the holy menorah. Now this is the whole thing here. Notice what the Greeks did with the oil. They only broke the seal. They didn't waste it. They had plenty of oil left. It was only rendered unusable. In fact, the original decrees by the Greeks were very, very specific. There were only 3 decrees, and those decrees were against circumcision, Shabbos, and determining the Jewish month by the lunar cycle. What they all have in common was a direct objection and rejection of the idea that something could have sanctity. Take Shabbos, or Sabbath, for example. It is a holy day. We close up shop and dedicate the entire day to God. It is not a mundane day like any other day of the week. Like, for example, I don't know, like Tuesday, let's say, for example. Or something. Tuesday is just not Shabbos, and Shabbos will always be a holy day. Circumcision too. The Greeks in a way worship the body, but as it is, in its natural form. How could the Jews come along and in a way mutilate the body by circumcision and call it a holy ritual? I don't know about you, but I'm perfectly fine without foreskin. I mean, I hardly remember it. It was 8 days when I got snipped. But anyway, their issue was with the sanctity of it. The body in its mundane and natural form was perfect and should be left as it is. They thought. They just did not get the holiness of it. That is why they did not waste any of the oil in the temple. They only defiled it. The oil, the menorah, the rituals, those were not the issue for the Greeks. It was calling it holy that they took issue with. And that is why it was specifically important for the Jews to only use undefiled oil. In fact, the bare bones ruling, or halacha for the menorah, was that in this situation, they technically could have used any oil that was available to them, defiled or otherwise. But this was the essence of the war. At its core. It was not a battle of the body, but a war for the soul. And that is, all but 1 jug of oil had become defiled and unusable. And what was usable was only enough for 1 day. And it would take 8 days to get more. It was a very specifically processed oil for the menorah. Anyway, that 1 jug of oil miraculously lasted 8 entire days, thus demonstrating that the sanctity is indeed real. Anyway, in commemoration of that, we light the menorah for 8 days and eat a lot of oily stuff. But what is oil? What lessons can we learn from its nature and characteristics? Oil is at the essence of everything, and yet never mixes with anything. It rises above. Imagine showing up in life as oil, to be deeply at life's core, yet rising above life itself. Not to seep into life and get mixed up in loss, but retaining one's wholeness and depth. And by doing so, just like the oil, you will shine bright and light up the entire world.